Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high, cause St. Louis isn't ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold on, we just saying hi. Five somebody, rise up. Weekdays, catch us live, somebody. Let's go.
Good afternoon. Good evening and good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Pascal Show. Hope you guys all doing well out there. Hope the show finds you in good spirits, because another day above the dirt is always a blessing. Man, some major developments have been going on, guys, and it's been absolutely insane, and we have got to get into the conversation. So before we get into everything, please do me a favor, all right? Hit that like button down below. Crush a do it a do. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on these other platforms. If you are watching on these other platforms like Facebook, X/Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, Twitch, Kick, I'm on all them mugs. So make sure you hit that like and that reaction button if you're watching on these other platforms. Also follow on those platforms as well. Facebook is booming. Facebook is blowing up right now. Okay, which we really appreciate. We are doing some serious coverage on this whole Nancy Guthrie case and other cases as well over there. So make sure you're following the Facebook page. Hit that subscribe button here if you're watching on YouTube. All right, subscribe here. Go and subscribe to the second channel, the Pascal Show Clips. Subscribe over there. That'd be greatly appreciated. All right, hit that notification bell. Set it to all so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload. Because honestly, it is random, okay? Please do that, okay? Oh, and we got another thing. Oh, wow. Okay, we got some breaking news that just broke just a second ago. So we're going to be talking about that here in just a minute. First time seeing you here. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload, because it is random. A lot of times it's breaking news. Hit that join button down below. Become a member. Check out my Patreon if you want to support the Pascal Musical Fam thing. Okay, go become a member over there, a patron over there. And if, of course, you want to support even further, go check out PascalMerch.com. PascalMerch.com. We got some really great stuff over there. PascalMerch.com. Okay, guys, we got to get into some things. Okay, a couple things that are popping off all at the same time. Something just happened. Something just broke. And something just broke a few hours ago. So we're kind of going to be going through a bunch of different things here. So just rock with me for a second. Okay. So here's the thing. Savannah Guthrie put up a new video, apparently, which was basically a montage of like nostalgic photos and stuff like that of her mom. So we are gonna take a look at that. I don't know what I can play. I have not seen this yet. We will check it out as soon as I find it. But one thing is for sure, the family, the family's still desperately trying to find their mom. So one thing is for sure. Hold on. Is this it? Yep, it is. Okay. I don't know if I can play the music. Okay, just so you guys know, I don't know if I can play the music, but one thing is for sure. This is a video that she put up, and she said, our lovely mom, we will never give up on her. Thank you for your prayers and hope. And of course, I don't know what the music is. And so it's just a quick video. It's a very quick video of the mom of Savannah Guthrie's mom, Nancy Guthrie. So that just happened about 2 hours ago. This came out, which is interesting, right? So again, this is very interesting, and of course heartbreaking. Of course, absolutely heartbreaking. But that just came out just a little bit ago, and that's actually being reported right now as we speak. Here's the other thing too. There's some very interesting stuff going on outside of Nancy Guthrie's house, and we have got to talk about that. All right, here's what's going on. There is a white tent that has now been erected outside the entryway of Nancy Guthrie's home. So now everybody, their mama, which is totally understandable, everybody and their mamas trying to understand, what is this? What is this all about? Now, we have seen, at least what I've seen as of late, investigators going in and out of the house. They've been leaving and then coming back with more stuff, and then leaving again and coming back with more stuff. So the burning question is, what is going down? Like, what is going on right now? Now, if they have just taken it down, then they obviously did not want us to see what they were doing. My theory, if it's been taken down, then that's what's up. Now it's been taken down. I'm sure we'll be seeing that it's been taken down here in just a little bit. But let's talk about why they put it up in the first doggone place. First off, my theory is that they wanted to check out the door. They wanted to see what was going on with the door. You see what I'm saying? That's what I'm thinking. Like, they didn't want people to see inside the house, like straight up through inside the house. So maybe they were trying to protect the integrity of the crime scene, like they should have done a long ass time ago, to be completely real with y'all. Okay. But nonetheless, this is some very interesting stuff. So let's take a look at this video here really quick. Okay. Let's take a look. All right. Let's do that right quick.
Seeing some movement. Matt, describe the scene for us.
Yeah, in the past couple of minutes, we saw this white tent be put up outside of the front door of Nancy Guthrie's home. Obviously not clear why that tent is there, but it is most certainly blocking view from the public and any passerbys. We imagine there might be some activity happening inside of that tent, which is directly in front of Nancy Guthrie's home. Of course, that doorstep has now become such a critical element of this investigation, because we have seen that masked figure right outside of that front door. Also, the blood drops leading from the front door down the sidewalk to the gravel driveway. Perhaps the tent is protecting that blood and the evidence from the sun, or perhaps there will be ongoing investigations that they want to keep a little more discreet underneath that white tent. But it was just put up moments ago. We'll be sure to keep you updated on any activity going in or out of that tent. It's clear to us on the ground here right now that investigators have really been focusing on the area in and around Nancy Guthrie's home, meaning foot searches on the ground, also over at Annie Guthrie's house as well. Over the past couple of days, our crews have seen foot searches, grid-like searches, all times of the day. Morning, noon, and night. In fact, just this morning, really only a couple of hours ago, one of our crew members saw the Pima County Forensic Unit searching a major thoroughfare around here, Campbell Avenue, taking pictures on Campbell Ave. And that was about a mile away from Nancy's house. And then yesterday, investigators found a black glove also on Campbell Avenue, which is a busy street that feeds into Nancy's neighborhood. Then that glove could be the type of clue that could offer critical DNA evidence. And of course, the Nest Cam video that was released outside of Nancy's front door shows that masked figure wearing dark gloves. The surveillance video was released on Tuesday, but so far the FBI has not released a description of the person in that video, meaning estimated height and weight. We're told law enforcement is working on that description, but that ultimately could help the public narrow down exactly who they're looking for out here. So back live outside of Nancy's house, we will keep you updated on the ongoing investigation and developments here in the Tucson area. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Matt. Phil?
Dana, I want to take you over. Sorry, I thought we were going to play a soundbite there. My bad. Come on over here. We'll get to that soundbite momentarily. All right, Nancy's Guthrie's house is right here. Okay, I want you to show you the location for where that glove was located. I'm going to give you 3 different ways to get there, all right? And it takes no time at all to get from her home, all right? It's 1.5 miles if you fly like a bird. It's 4.5 miles to Annie Guthrie's house if you do the same. But all these roads are such a winding tapestry in this neighborhood. Must be beautiful in the southwestern part of America, but you can go up this road and find your way to that glove location. You can also go this way and find your way. You can also take the shortest route, which puts you here as well. All 3 routes, about a mile, mile and a half, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, you're there. It's only stop signs, no stoplights. It's not far. at all. So keep that in mind about this location, whether or not that's significant. This is the glove. The New York Post had a crew there when they found it yesterday on the side of that road. And this is the neighborhood, the tapestry of roads that I described. Everything in yellow on the outside, those are the main roads. Everything in green is just this windy road that takes you, it looks like a tree branch, right? Several tree branches throughout the area. Nancy's home's here. The glove was found there, and we'll see whether or not in the end that makes a hill of beans momentarily. But for more, I want to bring in the NYPD Inspector Paul Morrow, who joins us now. Dana.
Paul, good morning to you. So we're day 12, and yesterday morning we had this news from Harvey Levin saying that they had just received a note from somebody who says that they know the kidnapper asking for a Bitcoin. Later on in the day, we get this report that there's one glove found. Now, this morning, we see the tent outside the house. Based on your experience in terms of investigations, like, where do you see this on day 12? Is it slowing down, gaining momentum, about the right amount of time being spent in each place? Your expertise means a lot to everybody listening, so we'll turn it over to you.
So, Dana, one thing about investigations, they have peaks and valleys. And right now, I would characterize it, despite the fact that we've had a couple of things that could be significant, I think we're in a little bit of a valley. Now, that doesn't mean that the case has gone cold or that no progress is being made. And just let me explain that, in the past, people got very used to the idea, the first 48, we've all heard that. And that was because the forensics were very, very different. You were working with fingerprints and things that came back much more quickly. You either had a match or you didn't. And you also did that off of interviews and things like that. These days, there is so much digital dust floating around out there that people leave. Never mind things like the fact that cars all have GPSs. These cars are rolling computers. They link to each other. They link to OnStars, things like that. People have dash cams. The point is, there's a lot of stuff that has to be gone through. And you and I worked the Kohlberger case together. And I remember being out there in Idaho when a lot of people were saying the case was cold and making this point, and then it was 6 weeks later. People forget it was 6 weeks before they buttoned that case up. They did it in the way that I'm describing. So could we get a break any day? Sure, we could get it today. And Kesh Patel does say they're making progress and that they're looking at a few people. But I would just say at this point, we may be into the analysis portion. What's upsetting about that is, of course, Nancy is still out there.
Do you have any thoughts as to why investigators seem to keep returning to Annie Guthrie's home?
I really don't. I know that there have been various tips coming in. As a result, I think they're pursuing those, but I don't see it as all that significant.
Click here.
Well, I guess only time will tell. We'll see what's going on with this, right? Again, there's a lot of things that have been going on. In fact, before we even go and start looking into this whole tent situation, I need to show you guys this. This also transpired last night, and I'm wondering who the F is this guy, right? Apparently there was some guy, seen on a security camera around the same day, around the same time that Nancy Guthrie got taken, right? This is just very interesting. Let's take a look at this. Have you guys seen this yet? I know a lot of people were showing this like late last night, but what the F is this? Take a look. And of course, there's no sound. Who's this dude? Who the F is this dude? Could this be the guy? Let's go back and look at that one more again. That's some weird stuff, right? It looks like he's got a goatee. Like he's got a little goatee thing going on. He definitely has a mustache. Is this the coat that the guy was wearing? That's the question, right? Is this the coat that the guy was wearing? I got questions. Hold on. It looks like a hoodie. Sorry, guys. Let me pull that up. Hold on. Could it be? I wasn't trying to do that, but okay. Could that be the guy? Is that the hoodie? What the heck? Something's tripping. Okay, here we go. Let's try that crap again. All right, let's take a look at this again. This guy. It just, I don't know. It's not the coat. It's definitely not the coat. It's definitely not the same jacket. And it's not tight on his body. You know what I mean? Especially around his arms and whatnot. Because, you know, in the photo of the other guy, he, you know, the photo of the guy that was seen. We're gonna look at that in a second. But who the hell is this guy? Right? Yeah, he's too thin. He's too thin, in my opinion. Way too thin. But yeah, who is this? Yeah, look at it. Just seems a little bit more, you know, snug on his body. You know what I mean? And there's no black strip that we see. That's the other thing too. There's no black stripe. Right? Now, I know it's just unzipped, but at the same time, it just seems, I don't know if that's the guy. I don't know if that's the guy. Let's take a look at it one more time. Take a look at it again. Just, I don't know. I'm not getting the vibe that it's him. No black strap, no black strip across the chest where the jacket has. Maybe he's just another criminal trying to do some crime, you know? Or maybe he's just a homeless guy trying to find a place to lay down. Interesting, right? Interesting. So that could be something, that may be nothing at all, right? But that is interesting. Let's see. I know like Fox has been covering a lot of this whole thing as well. Let's take a look. Let's see what's going on. Let's see what.
And Matt Finn is live outside Nancy Guthrie's home where we're seeing some movement. Matt, describe the scene for us.
Hold on, guys. Sorry, wrong thing.
Yeah, in the past couple.
Hold on, wrong thing.
A number of my colleagues about labeling people as domestic terrorists. What is the definition of a domestic terrorist?
Okay. That's a whole other Charles Dickens story in itself. Completely different conversation. Hold on. Let's see this.
FBI Supervisory Agent James Galliano, live outside of Nancy Guthrie's home. So one of the big questions, James, a lot of us have, what are the points of entry? We saw that at one point in time that investigators were on the roof. It would appear that the exit location was the front door because that's where you see the blood splatter. But where else could the suspect have entered into the home?
So, Lawrence, I'm going to take a look at this as a former FBI SWAT team leader. And so when we do a site survey on a potential location where we're trying to make entry into, and what are the things that I would see that would be difficult to make entry? Because remember, if you're a bad guy trying to get inside, or if you're the good guys going to make a rescue, you want to find the path of least resistance. And look, much of the architecture out here, obviously with the ties to Mexico, much of the architecture is Spanish or Latin American type. And on the front door, and I've looked at that front door, you can see it, you know, over my shoulder here. It's right behind me. It is a thick wood, hickory, oak type door. It's very, you know, simple and synergist with the locality here. And in front of it, there's something that we call a rejas. And what is a rejas? It's a Spanish word. It's like ornate wrought iron grating, and usually they're put over windows or doors. And what do they allow? They allow for ventilation in or out, and they're also for security. Well, Mrs. Guthrie has one on her door. So that was an additional layer, and why this individual, this perp, this suspect, decided to go there to disable the Nest camera instead of, and our intrepid drone team has been out here and they've taken great drone footage from high above. You can look at the entire property. You know, there's an outbuilding back there. There's a pool in the back. There are multiple points of entry that you could get into very easily. In the back of the house, there is a back door that's got like 9 panel window panes in it. You could have easily broken one panel, reached in your hand, unlocked the door, and gone in with nobody noticing. So why the suspect went to the front? We obviously know that Mrs. Guthrie was there at some point in time because we know that the blood spatter is there and the DNA came back to her. It really boggles the mind. This case gets confounding. And again, investigators certainly know more than I do. But as I look at this, and if I'm thinking about it from the good guy perspective trying to get in or the bad guy perspective, I don't understand why that front door would have been an option. You could have gotten into and out of that house, avoided the surveillance from that video camera on the front door, and brought her out the side where there are no surveillance cameras, and had a car there to take her away. It boggles the mind.
James, does it show you that she evidently won when she was dropped off by, we assume, the son-in-law? She went in the garage. So that means, I would assume, you go into the garage because the front door is locked. You make a choice. It's easier to hit a button than it is to maybe fumble for your keys. Would you assume the same thing? And would you think that a woman, an 84-year-old woman, would always be sure to keep that front door locked? And going in the garage, isn't that a further indication that it was locked? And then you wonder, did you break that door off the hinges? You know, did you pick? I don't know of anybody that picks a deadbolt lock. Maybe you do. What does that tell you?
Yeah, well, Brian, and we don't know how that garage door operates. Is it a key code pad? Right. Is it a traditional key? Was it left unlocked like sometimes people do? I can't imagine an 84-year-old woman reaching down and lifting that door up. It was probably an automatic garage door opener. Maybe she could have had that too. And here's the question too. Did the perp follow her into the house? But then it begs the question, why would he go back around to the front unless there was a vehicle waiting and that was going to come at a prescribed time, or he was going to message somebody to pull up out front to bring Mrs. Guthrie out. And he wanted to make sure that the Nest camera didn't pick up the vehicle approach.
One thing I want to know, though, is it confirmed whether or not they found another camera? Did they really find another camera that was not part of her security cam system? Because remember, they made a huge deal about that. They just took a camera off the roof of her house, and the reports were saying that it wasn't her camera, that it was just some other another person's, you know, like another company, you know, like another camera. So did they ever go back and talk about that yet? Did they ever confirm that and say, hey, that camera is this is her camera. We just took it down because we wanted to see if we can get some more footage off the camera. Or, oh, damn, that is a camera that was from some other person. They were watching her for months. You know, they were watching her for weeks or whatever the hell it is, just seeing what her daily routine was. But we don't hear anything of that sort. Now, have we? Interesting, right? Just something to think about. I just want to see if they can actually confirm that, or, you know, confirm or debunk it, right?
Again, I'm completely befuddled by why you wouldn't have gone through just a number of first floor windows that don't have the Rehas on them. They don't have that ornate grates over them like you see on many of the houses here.
I agree 100%, Angela. I agree 100%. They need to do a presser ASAP. That's what they need to do. And get everything out. Iron out all the wrinkles, because there's too many mother-loving wrinkles, bruh. There are too many mother-loving wrinkles up in this piece. But I digress. Let us continue.
And why you would choose the front door unless he thought he could coerce her or trick her, you know, some kind of ruse to get her to open the door. But when you're standing there dressed as he was, she's not going to open the door. So these are all the conflicting fact patterns, trying to figure out how this was. What I don't understand is this, and I'll close here. Why haven't we learned yet if forced entry was the means of entering the house?
Thank you. I agree 100. I agree 110%. Remember, in the very beginning of this whole case, we heard forced entry, forced entry, forced entry. And then what did they do? The sheriff went back and he said, I don't know who told you that. I don't know who told you forced entry. Who told you that information? You mother lover, you sheriff, you the one who said it. But then he walked it back. So again, it's like, okay, what happened? Was she really snatched from her bed? Remember, he said she was snatched from her bed, and everyone was like, oh my God, clutch my pearls. Oh my God. And then he goes back, he goes, no, it was a turn of phrase now. Now that was a turn of phrase. I didn't mean that literally. So it's like, okay, what happened? Did the dude walk up and ring the mother-loving doorbell, and then she walked up and opened the door, and then she was attacked? Or was there really him kicking the door open? Here's the other thing, though, too, which is very frustrating. Why are we not seeing any more footage? They got the footage from that Ring camera. Why can't we see anything else? Now, I get it. They don't want to show the graphic nature of how she was taken. That is fine. But as far as him kicking the door open, you mean to tell me we can't get some proof or see if him kicking the door open? Because then that would confirm, yeah, he bust the door open. There was forced entry. You see what I'm saying? But they're not giving us that. Here's the other thing, too. Where is the make and type of car that they're looking at? Or cars, plural, that they're looking at? Why aren't they turning to the public and saying, hey, here's the guy. He's a masked individual, but here's the car, too. You know, maybe somebody knows this car. Maybe it has a weird little dent or a little a color of the car that's a little awkward or stands out or something of that sort. But no, they're not giving us anything of that sort, which is getting very, very frustrating and very, very tiresome. It's getting exhausting. Okay? It's getting exhausting because there's a lot of things that could have been nipped in the bud by now if the law enforcement would get their heads out of their ass and stop putting their noses in the air, okay, being snobbish, because they're like, no, we're going to figure this out ourselves, dear Watson. Yes, we shall figure it out ourselves. When there are people out here that are standing around outside in these streets that probably have seen this car pass by 100 times now over the last 12 mother-loving days. You see what I'm saying? Like, now is the time, okay? Enrico, yeah, I am pressed because this is BS. You know what I'm saying? You're talking about an 84-year-old. If this was your mama, wouldn't you be pressed? You know what I'm saying? I'm pressed because the way that they have handled this case has been so ass backwards or back asswards, okay, that, man, I don't know what to say. Like, at this point, it's like you suddenly now put up and now just took down a tent, a white tent that should have already been put up a long ass time ago. Why now? Why right now? What the F is going on? You see what I'm saying? So all of this stuff is like, after the fact. You see what I'm saying? Now, fellas, God forbid you get your girl or your partner, your man's, whatever, okay? Live how you want to live, all right? God forbid you go and get your lover, Lavelle, a Valentine's Day gift after Valentine's Day. After the fact, you don't think that they're going to be like, oh, it's sweet, but why now? You know what I'm saying? It wasn't done on the day. You feel me? You see what I'm saying? And sure, you could be like, well, see how my bank account was set up. And that's fine. That's on you. I ain't pocket watching nobody. But at the same time, you understand. It feels weird. It's like, nah, it doesn't have the same effect. So the same thing with this. We're seeing all of this stuff being done after the fact. What in the F is going on? And why is it being done now? Remember, they had a massive, well, we don't even know if they had a massive search in the very beginning of this mother-loving case. All we know is that they said she's gone. There was some sort of issues that happened. right? There was there was signs of some sort of crime going on. They believe it was foul play, right? And then everybody lost their minds. There was no like, we're scouring the earth high and low. We are what do they do? What do they call it? Like when they walk out and they, they're just doing massive searches, right? In the area. We didn't hear anything about that. We never heard any of that in the very beginning. Do you understand? We didn't hear any of that in the very beginning. All we heard is that they showed up and said, "Yep, looks like there was foul play in this house," and they didn't go and look around the house, meaning like the outside and the backyard at least. You see what I'm saying? Or beyond the backyard of her home, right? And just see in that vast desert if she could be there. They didn't do that for a whole week, guys. They didn't do that until much, much later, after the fact, right? Why now? Remember, they had the crime scene, and then they shut that mother lover down. And they said it was open to the family. They gave it back to the family, right? Gave it back to the family. And then suddenly out of nowhere, after like 1 or 2 or 3 ransom notes come out, then they came back and said, oh, everybody back off. When the crime scene's already been contaminated, everyone back off. It's a crime scene again. Now we're going to be searching high and low outside the property. So people in the Catalina foothills area, just letting you know, we're going to be out here in these streets looking around now. What? We're going door to door now. What? Days later, guys. Days later. You see what I'm saying? It's all back ass words, and it makes no sense to me. So this white tent, I'm like, oh, snap. What could this be, right? Which we'll talk about in a second, even more. But at the same time, I'm going, why now? Why now? Yeah, it's almost 2 weeks, Copper Mountain 32. Thank you so much for being a member. I appreciate the support. But seriously, almost 2 weeks now, guys. Valentine's Day will mark 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying? Some ain't feeling right, guys. Okay? Some ain't feeling right. And I'm not saying that it's an inside job with the police. No. But the lack of experience, the lack of experience with all the detectives, investigators combined don't even sum up to one veteran investigator. You realize that? It's still like they're young. They're still brand new, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. You know what I'm saying? Lack of experience could be an absolute issue here. And maybe lack of good leadership. Yeah, I said it. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to add the sheriff, but at the same time, damn, bro. What kind of department are you running, homie? Because everything's ass backwards. Just doesn't make sense to me. But let's continue. Sheesh.
Initially state that and then quickly walk that back. I think that's a key piece of evidence here, and I don't know why. I've thought about this, why they haven't released that.
Right. We all have those questions and questions about the cameras. Some have said there were cameras found on the roof in the back, other cameras inside. We want to see what those cameras caught. Did she have an alarm? If she's a woman, 84, living by herself, you would think she would have an alarm. What's the latest there? What about oppressor? It's been a while since we've heard from the police.
Thank you for asking that.
The last time we were briefed from the sheriff's department, I should say, was what, a week ago?
Unbelievable.
Are they planning on saying anything?
Yeah, so Ainsley, we've been asking around about that because obviously, you know, we want to get as much news as we can. In the very beginning, I think that they realize that sometimes too much information is not a good thing. It's not going to help. And when you have two agencies, the FBI has been kind of tight-lipped on this because, again, we are second seat, right? The Pima County Sheriff's Office, they are directing this investigation from the front. The FBI is in an advisory capacity. And that makes it difficult. You need a singular line of messaging. And that's why you would have a joint operations center. You'd have, you know, agents working with deputies. And that way, all of that information, there's a synergy there. And then there's one presser to put that out. They have stated repeatedly, we're not having another press conference unless or until we have a significant piece of evidence or information that the public needs to hear about.
Okay. Now, and I understand what he's saying. I'm not disagreeing with what he is saying. I understand what he's saying. It's perfectly clear. But for me, I'm saying this. There is a lot of information that they do have that they could talk to the public about. For example, the security cam footage of this guy, right? Going to the house, possibly knocking open the door, possibly taking her. There's a lot of questions about who, you know, what else information do they have about the items of clothing that he's wearing, the book bag, you know, that kind of thing, right? That piece could be explained a little bit more and give us more of a timeline of what they saw this guy doing in front of that house, right? The other thing is too, it's like, can you at least tell us if she was carried out? Can you at least tell us if there was a fight walking out of the house with her? Can you at least tell us what's going on with this whole thing, right? Like with the footage, there's more explanation there that they could give us information on now that we have evidence in front of us, right? And then I hate to say this again, like sounding like a broken record, but they could literally show us footage of the car or vehicles of interest that they're looking at. They could do that too. Instead of just randomly pulling over some random guy that has the same type of eyebrows and mustache and making his life a living hell. You see what I'm saying? You know, just these certain thoughts that just cross my mind, you know? You don't have to give everybody everything. Here's the other thing too. They did not give us a whole lot of information in the beginning anyway. They gave us, yes, there were signs of an issue. Yes, there was this, that, and the third. There was signs of an issue. There's obviously signs of some sort of her being taken against her will, possibly snatched out of her bed. Like there's things that, and that's the other thing too. It's things that were coming out of the sheriff's mouth that shouldn't have come out the way that they came out if they weren't true. You understand what I'm saying? Now, I just said it earlier, but I'm going to say it again. If you're going to sit there and say she was taken from her bed, but it's not true, then don't say that. Don't say that there was forced entry if there wasn't forced entry. You see, there's just very simple little things that they could say that gives us exactly what we need. It feeds the ravenous, inquisitive minds that are out here in the internet streets and in the media, but it doesn't give us everything. But when you start stoking the flames and throwing logs in there and then going back and saying, that's not what I meant, or that's not what I said, that's a lie, and gaslighting, that causes drama. Now, if you noticed, let's just take a trip down memory lane. Coco. Remember Coco? Yeah. He's rotting in prison right now, okay? Losing his mind about bananas. That's not even a joke, but sounds like a joke. But he's losing his mind he's going bananas over bananas, all right? The state of bananas, God forbid. The world's going to hell in a handbasket over bananas. But here's the thing. Remember how they were handling the case? They didn't give us a whole lot of information, but they gave us enough information for us to ask questions, start wondering what's going on and all that. But it wasn't a situation where they were going up and talking wild on the microphone. They weren't sitting there going, oh, God, you should have seen the scene. It looked like this, that, and the third. And then a week or day or two later, go and retract all that and go, well, no. Well, what we said about, what happened to Xana, it ain't true. No, that was a turn of phrase. They didn't do that. They just said, here's the information that we have. We cannot disclose anything else, but this is what we got. We're looking for a white Hyundai Elantra, right? And help us find that, right? X, Y, and Z. Very little, but enough for us to know what's going on. Oh, sorry. For those of y'all who are new to the party, I call Brian Kohberger Coco. Yeah. So Brian Kohberger moving his mind, losing his mind over bananas in prison. Fine. Go bananas, baby. Go bananas. But here's the thing. Notice how they handled everything? They handled things well. And yes, I get it. No matter what. Yeah, he cocoa buns now. Ugh. Drop the soap. Drop the soap, Coco. So here's the thing. Here's the thing. When it comes to the information that we have received, it's all on them. If they want to take that information and make things up and run with it and do whatever, okay? Yeah, he's probably called, Raven, he's probably Coco-licious, okay? Coco-licious. Anyway, here's the thing. I mean, in prison, I don't need to know that. Good God. But here's the thing. It's all on them. They have the choice to elaborate on information or to only give us the information that the public needs to know. That's it. If the sheriff decides to speak and go wireless on the microphone, that's him. That's on him. That's his problem, not us. We shouldn't be in trouble for asking questions when this information's coming out his doggone mouth. Do you understand? But he's turning to everybody, getting mad and saying, well, and he's retracting everything and going, this all the information that we have. And no, we never said that. We never said this. We never said this. And we never said this, because he doesn't want to look like Boo Boo the Fool in front of FBI. Have you not noticed that? I don't understand. Like, I thought that was a thing in the movies, but apparently local PD and like when the FBI show up, they're like, oh, like it's like in the movies. You know what I'm saying? It's like the crime scene in the movie and the FBI shows up and the local cop who's, borderline alcoholic, just on his third divorce, chain smoking cigarettes and just, mainlining basically coffee is sitting there going, oh, there you go. Oh, the FBI's here. This is ours. This is our crime scene. No, it's not. Dagnabbit. You know what I mean? Taggart. This is my crime scene, and it feels like that's what we're seeing in real life, in real time. And now the sheriff doesn't want to look like an idiot. So he's like, I'm retracting everything. And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Because you got FBI right here just going, just looking around, looking at the sheriff as he's looking like a fool. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. Huh? I don't know what you're talking about. No one said any of those things. No one ever said those things. So where did you get it from? Not me. And it was from him. So again, come on now. Yeah, I really just did hand puppets. I need sleep, guys. Yeah, it's Sheriff Gaslighter for sure. Sheriff Gaslighter, I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't say anything about forced entry. Who said anything about forced entry? Well, if you look on page 5 of the New York Times, yes, you said it right there in this interview, that there was forced entry in the house, quote, Sheriff Nanos. It's right there, sir. Like I said, he's making us look like idiots because he doesn't want to look like an idiot in front of FBI. You can't make this stuff up. You just can't. But let's continue. They need to literally do a press conference as soon as possible to let people know what the F is going on. Let's continue.
But James, and I say this cautiously because the thin blue line exists for a reason. And many people in law enforcement understand the job and are hesitant to criticize rank and file. But when it comes to leadership, were there some failures here? Securing the crime scene, the way the grid search is being done, not using the proper equipment to make sure that the scene is not contaminated. Just now beginning this type of grid search. What do you see as an investigator that's done the job and has supervised the job?
Yeah, Lawrence, we definitely know that law enforcement has a tough job. And for 25 years, I saw things from the other side of the crime scene tape. And I know how difficult it is where you hear things said in the media, you hear somebody like me, an analyst, speculating about something, and you want to pull your hair out and say, that's wrong, that's not what's going on. When it comes to the conduct of the investigation, I will give the investigators the benefit of the doubt again, because they've got a difficult and arduous task. The terrain out here, just the 14-hour time gap that you guys painstakingly walked through at the top of the show this morning to talk about how long the bad guy or bad guys had to get away and be long way away from here before, authorities were notified. If I had to be critical of one thing, and I'll go on the record and say this, look, I'm a recovering elected official. The sheriff of Pima County, and it's not just him, sheriffs are historically elected positions. They're politicians first, and then they're also law enforcement officers. That's a tough position to be in because you've got to run for election again or re-election, and you've also got to think about serving the public. And it's a difficult capacity because law enforcement doesn't have to usually be elected. I would be critical of the messaging. I thought in the beginning, especially for a politician who are usually better speakers, I thought it was clumsy and it showed, look, the Pima County Sheriff's Office is 1,800 strong, 600 sworn deputies. They've got 9,000 miles of incorporated property here that they're in charge of. It's a large swath in territory, but I don't know, and I've looked up to see what the major cases that they had worked as a department, but I thought in the beginning, the mixed messaging that was sent out, the saying something and immediately walking back, if I had some critical things to say, that would be something I would want to see fixed, and I think not having more press conferences is probably their solution to that problem.
Yeah, tell us less. So this way I can't be wrong. I just think at some point, if the FBI director says this is the Keystone Cops operation from the inside, not the outside, I think maybe the president's got to get involved and say, you know what, I'm putting the FBI in charge of this. There's too much at stake. We got too many assets here. We gave you a shot. The FBI's got to take command. That's what you guys do. I'd be very curious, unless the reality on the inside is there, it's much better than it seems on the outside.
Yeah, Brian, I'll share this. I do talk to people that have talked to people inside the investigation, and not about particulars of the case and how it's going, but about the fact that there was a 48-hour period between the time that the case was first stood up and the Pima County Sheriff's Office, rightfully so, took over the purview of the case, and when the FBI was allowed into the investigation. 48 hours. Now, that's not the rank and file deputies. There's one right over my shoulder right now doing due diligence, walking the property, making sure it stays secure. It is literally that type of territoriality, and that happens in everything that causes things like this to happen. That 48-hour gap, the fact that you have an elected official in charge of a sheriff's department that doesn't want the scene as ceding to the 500-pound gorilla. But I agree with your points. This should be an investigation, in my estimation, that the FBI should take the lead now.
Thanks.
Yeah, I think that what he does, that last piece he just said, I agree 110%. I think it's about time that there's another leader, another department taking over the lead, because this has been a circus. I'm sorry, but it's been a circus. Okay. I'm having steak, guys. I'm about to smash some steak. All right. Just letting you know, everybody's like, what's for lunch, Pascal? Steaks for lunch. Yes. But here's the thing. Okay. I truly think it's about time they move on. They not move on from the case, but I mean, that they moved back and they let FBI come in, all right? Come in and let them do their thing. But here's the other thing too. FBI is mucking this up too, babies, okay? Yeah, they're not doing a great job either. They've already misstepped. There's already been a misstep due to them trusting some AI program. I'm not lying. They used an AI program to go and scan the guy's face, and they believe that this guy Carlos, the one that they ended up detaining the other night for several hours, they believe that that was the guy because they used an AI program. An AI program, and they said, "Oh, that's the guy," and then they pounced, and then they put that whatever AI image that they, extracted, and they put it in a face recognition thing, and went, brrr, and then they just said, "Oh, there's Carlos. That looks like that guy," and then they went off and they detained him, found him, and detained him like that. That was Dusty. Like that, out of nowhere. So again, crazy. All right. That was FBI too. So again, not sitting there saying that they wouldn't do, do better, but they might be a little bit more constructive, hopefully, with the investigation. Hopefully. Okay. Let's go over to TMZ. They're talking about the video that I just showed you guys of the guy with the 2 backpacks that they found. Apparently, he was, walking in some resident area, caught on film the day, basically on February 1st. Okay, so I wanted to see what TMZ has to say about this. Let's take a look.
There is new video, we are told, is on the FBI's radar in the Nancy Guthrie case. And it could be important, but we know it is in play. This video was shot at 1:52 in the morning at a home 5 miles from Nancy Guthrie's house. You see a man in the video both wearing a backpack and holding a backpack. The backpack that he is holding has reflective stripes similar to the backpack that the kidnapper was wearing at Nancy's door. It's unclear from the video exactly where those reflective stripes are located, but they are reflective stripes. And we know and reported yesterday that this is a Walmart backpack, which is fairly common. The man appears to try and open a gate at a residence, and he is unable to do it. So he leaves at 1:53. Now, timing here is critical. When you listen to the FBI last week, they said that Nancy's doorbell was disabled at 1:47. Our law enforcement sources directly connected to this case tell us that the video that they retrieved showing the kidnapper at Nancy Guthrie's door, that video was actually 2:12 a.m. Notice that when the FBI released it, they didn't give a timestamp. They didn't say when it was. But we are told by law enforcement sources it was 2:12 a.m. Where you see the kidnapper. That's the video that was retrieved. So now think about this. If the kidnapper is at Nancy's door at 2:12 a.m. and this person in...
Hold on. 2:12 a.m. Okay. Huh? I'm rolling that back a little bit. So the 2:12 a.m. This is insane. Hold on.
At Nancy Guthrie's door at 1:47. Our law enforcement...
Hold on. Let me roll that back a little bit more.
Here is critical. When you listen to the FBI last week, they said that Nancy's doorbell was disabled at 1:47.
Right.
Our law enforcement sources directly connected to this case tell us that the video that they retrieved showing the kidnapper at Nancy Guthrie's door,
Right.
that video was actually 2:12 a.m.
Hold on. 2:12 a.m. Hold on. I have a screenshot of the actual. One second. Where the heck is that? Hold on. There it is. Just a cross reference. So, doorbell camera disconnects at 1:47 a.m. Doorbell camera, let me repeat that again. What they told us before is doorbell camera disconnects at 1:47 a.m. They say software detects person on camera at 2:12. But if the doorbell camera wasn't tampered with or messed with until 2:12, what they're saying, then the 1:47 doorbell camera disconnecting is not correct. You see what I'm saying? That doesn't make any sense. Let me repeat that again. 1:47 a.m., the doorbell camera disconnects. Now, if and only if TMZ is correct, if and only if TMZ is correct, they're saying that the doorbell camera didn't get disconnected until about 2:12 a.m. because that's when you see him walking up and messing with this is what they're saying. When he's seen walking up and messing with the camera, it's at 2:12 a.m. that he's messing with that camera, that doorbell camera. So if he's messing with the camera at that time at 2:12, how would he be able to disconnect? Why are they saying that he disconnected the doorbell camera at 1:47 a.m. if there's proof of him disconnecting the camera at allegedly 2:12 a.m.? So make that make sense. Are we dealing with incompetent officers here? Is there another doorbell camera that was disconnected somewhere else? I mean, there might be a side door or something like that where doorbell camera over there or something like that. But from my understanding, there's only one doorbell camera, and that's the front door. So if that's the case, this math ain't mathin'. Take it with a grain of salt, though, because we are also hearing this from TMZ. I'm not saying TMZ is not a reliable source. All I'm saying is their sources may not be 110%, but that's very interesting, don't you think? Don't worry. I'm going to roll that back so you guys can hear that again all the way in the nosebleed seats because I think that matters. That's a big deal. That's a big deal.
Now, timing here is critical. When you listen to the FBI last week, they said that Nancy's doorbell was disabled at 1:47. Our law enforcement sources directly connected to this case tell us that the video that they retrieved showing the kidnapper at Nancy Guthrie's door, that video was actually 2:12 a.m. Notice that when the FBI released it, they didn't give a timestamp. They didn't say when it was. But we are told by law enforcement sources it was 2:12 a.m. Where you see the kidnapper. That's the video that was retrieved. So now think about this. If the kidnapper is at Nancy's door at 2:12 a.m., and this person in this other video 5 miles away left that home at 1:53, there would be 19 minutes that person has, if that person is the kidnapper, and I stress if, 19 minutes to drive 5 miles, put on the disguise, and walk up to Nancy's door. Now, I want to really make this clear. We don't know this is the kidnapper. We do know this is something the FBI is actively looking at to determine if there's any connection. So that's why the face is blurred. We don't know it's him, but we know the FBI is looking at that. One more thing. As for the glove that was found yesterday, we are told that there were actually more than one glove found at that scene. So the FBI is looking at it to authenticate. And as we hear things, we will let you know.
Ay, Chihuahua.
But as of now, that video that was shot 5 miles away has piqued the FBI's interest.
Of course, okay. Of course, it's going to pique the FBI's interest. There's a guy in the area, within a drive's way, okay, a 19-minute drive or something like that away from the situation, right? This is just so, oh, dear Lord, this is just so strange, guys. Why would they mess that up? How could they mess something like that, right? How could they mess something like that up? Was she? Yeah, like they coming in with all this information, man. But like, make that make sense. Why would you mess that up? That's crucial. That 1:47 a.m. 2:12 a.m. piece, that is crucial information. That's a major F up, guys. So, and that's, of course, depending on if TMZ is actually telling, has a reliable source, and that source is reliable enough. Pretty insane to me that you got somebody out here, law enforcement going out here saying things that are not entirely accurate. Why are they messing? How could they continue to be dropping the ball and messing this thing up like this? It just doesn't make any sense to me. We got to go back over to Fox. Let's take a look at this.
So overnight, the
My
sheriff's
Lord.
forensics teams in Tucson searching the side of the road near Nancy Guthrie's home. This is the very new stuff now. This, as sources confirm, the FBI is processing a set of gloves found about 1.5 miles from her house. Lieutenant Randy Sutton joins us now. He served 24 years with the Las Vegas Metropolitan PD. He joins us live outside the Pima County Sheriff's Office in Tucson. Randy, your take on what they're looking for that would prompt them to go there at night. What could you maybe infer from this?
Well, in a sense, it shows how desperate they are to literally turn over every stone on this investigation. They are looking for anything. And the reality is that this is very difficult terrain. When you're looking at the wide scope of this search, I mean, it encompasses miles and miles, and with the hope that they will be able to recover something that might have been discarded. Now, I caution about the enthusiasm that has arisen from the discovery of these gloves. Is it possible that they're involved? Sure, and they will diligently, the FBI will diligently examine those for DNA and any possibility. They'll be comparing the material from enhanced photographic images that they recover from the video. They'll do anything to either confirm that those possibly might be the gloves, or that this is a non-starter.
Right. Some people have said those gloves, the ones we saw in the video, that might be the ones we found on the ground. They found on the ground are from the food service business. That might be somebody that works in some type of area where you need the thickness of those like thermal gloves. How do you feel about that?
Well, I personally believe that those gloves were easily found in any Home Depot or Lowe's, and they are used for plumbing work and things like that.
Okay.
And that there was a set of gloves underneath that. That's my belief.
That's why you would have the thicker gloves. So the sheriff hasn't spoken to us in a while. We get updates just by piecing together different reports and clues and trying to do our own sourcing. How do you think this is working with the FBI and sheriff, the coordination, the leadership? How is it viewed inside from your contacts?
Now, that's a great question, because this is something that has concerned me from the very beginning. Of course, following this case from the outset, beginning when the sheriff did give his press conferences, the way he gave these press conferences was startling. It was unprofessional. He seemed to be out of his depth, quite honestly.
Out of his element.
He gave information, and he walked back information, and he said this, he said that. Clearly under his leadership, the scene was not secured properly. We're now understanding that the FBI wasn't called in until several days later, that the scene itself was compromised. This is bad leadership. And I can tell you this, that I've been on the ground here for like 10 days now, and I've got pretty good sources in the area when it comes down to how this sheriff is viewed. And he is viewed as a vindictive sheriff, that he has, in actuality, gotten rid of some of his most experienced people, including on the homicide team. The homicide team here is they don't get that much experience, because I think last year there were only 5 murders as opposed to Tucson, which had like 50. So to be a homicide detective requires a great deal of time and education, but experience. Well, he got rid of his most experienced because he had disciplinary problems or personal problems with them. Same thing with the pilot of the airplane that needed to be up immediately in the search and rescue. He got rid of the pilot and assigned him back to another assignment. He was their pilot. And in all reality, he is not viewed as an effective leader. He's viewed as a vindictive leader. And we're seeing that, I believe, because he hasn't given a press conference since all of the criticism that arose from his other press conferences. And this is...
Yo! He said it. He said it, not me. I mean, let's be real. This sheriff is getting so much backlash because of how he's been handling this situation. Didn't I say days ago that this dude just got in his fees, feeling some type of way, and that's why he just went up to the general public in public and said, everything you heard is a lie. Everything you heard is not what you heard. Nope. Don't know where you got that information from. Don't know where you got that information from too. All of that stuff is not true at all. That is so messed up. And now you're hearing it from him. You're hearing it from a former law enforcement as well, basically saying like, this dude is vindictive, straight up vindictive. He gets in his fees and he's like, oh, so that's what you gonna do to me? Oh, I ain't giving you nothing now. That's exactly what he's doing. We are literally watching the Real Housewives of Pima County Sheriff's Department. Okay. All right, let's continue.
This is bad leadership. The people have a right to have some transparency.
Thank you.
Of course, you don't want to give up the leads or anything, but the people have a right to have some confidence in the law enforcement area here.
I keep going back to John Ramsey told me on Sunday, one of his big regrets was now pushing harder to get the FBI more involved early. He just acquiesced and said, do your thing. He says, and he really regrets not doing that. And we know the death of his daughter was in his own house. Lastly, if there was a Guthrie getaway vehicle, was it caught on a traffic camera anywhere after you saw the doorway video? Do you think, what would you be looking for there? Could that be possible?
Yeah, it is possible. And I think that's why they're looking at every single ounce of video that they can obtain from security cameras in convenience stores to the whatever is out there officially in the government, poll cams and things like that. So they're looking for anything that could possibly be have been utilized as a getaway vehicle. And I fully believe that it is out there. He didn't drag that woman out of there and carry her off to never.
And I don't think he took her alone. I think he really did get or have somebody else helping him. I truly think that.
There's a vehicle involved. Right.
The city of Tucson does not have cameras that record moving vehicles. So it's unfortunate.
Wait, I'm sorry. Word?
Cameras that
Hold on, I'm pulling that back. Hold on.
Out there. He didn't drag that woman out of there and carry her off to Neverland. There's a vehicle involved.
No doubt.
The city of Tucson does not have cameras that record moving vehicles. So
we're screwed. You heard that, right? The city of Tucson does not have cameras that film moving vehicles. So this guy, wow. Did this guy know all this information? If you really think about it. Wow, New York. Wow. Like, this is bad. Wow, this is bad. We're screwed. Okay? With this case, screwed. Why wouldn't they not have that? It's a very affluent area, very nice area. Why would they not have that? That's insane. So they don't. Word? That is insane. That's insane. So that piece of info, that's the real deal, Holyfield. You gotta be kidding me, guys. You can't even film. Like, seriously, you can't even. Oh, that's so stupid. That's really stupid, guys. Okay. Like, did he know that yeah, I could just drive down the street with her, like, basically trying to beat me up as I'm driving down the street with her, in the driver's side or something like that? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, she's trying to get out of the car, all that stuff. They're not going to be able to find any of that footage because they don't film that kind of footage. Like, what in the F is going on? So let me show you. We got to hop over to JLR. I'm just pulling it back to the a part where he was outside, and JLR has been doing some really great work out there covering all this stuff. Just letting us know what's going on outside, and God only knows how long this is going to be lasting for. Remember that. Like, this could last the whole month, possibly, which is insane. That would be insane. But I do want to show you guys the tent that was put up. We're not going to be here. We're not going to stay on this for very long, but I want us to see it for ourselves. Okay.
The steps and then goes this way or that way.
Yeah.
So he would have had to come in either one of these ways.
So either he parked on the street or on the side there where there's FBI vehicles.
But there was supposedly a camera on her garage, so that should have been the house.
Yeah. Be safe. How are you feeling about the media out here? I mean, is it bothering you, or is it just,
I don't live right on the street, so I was just saying to my sister this morning, and I'm sitting at home, I wouldn't even know any of you were here until I walked down. Now, yesterday there was a traffic jam at the end of the road.
What was happening?
A traffic jam.
A traffic jam?
Coming out of my street, but it cleared after a minute. It's unusual. I mean, it doesn't bother me. I'm glad that you guys are here covering it because it needs to be kept alive so it can get solved.
Yeah, I think that puts a lot of pressure on investigators, because normally a lot of these stuff happens around the country, and if it wasn't a famous person, no attention.
I know that. There was a man went missing up in the Ritz-Carlton hiking the other day.
Yeah.
They did find him, unfortunately.
Yeah, they did have gliders up there looking for him and everything.
But he didn't get, you know what I'm saying? So people get upset about stuff like that around here, but it is what it is. I mean, the minute her being, I didn't even know she's Savannah's mom. I've lived here for 9 years. I had no idea who she was related to until someone sent me a photo saying, this is the lady that's missing. And Savannah was in the picture with her. And I was like, is that a relative of hers? And she said, it's her mom. It's like, what?
Medium rare. Depends on the cut. Depends on the steak. All right. Just so you know. Yeah, I guess this lady has an Irish accent. Talking with him about this whole thing. I'm going to move it up a little bit, though. And what's crazy is that there's a lot of people that are actually going over to JLR because they're obviously watching his stream. There's 40-something thousand people, right? That are watching his streams pretty much every day. So again, you see what I'm saying? No, I did not cook this steak, but I'm one hell of a cook. I don't know if you know about that, but I'm one hell of a cook, and I can make a mean steak, but I did not make this steak. I was here. I'm right here. You know what I mean? So I didn't make the steak. All right. But let's continue on.
When are they leaving there? What did they get? Did they get any evidence? Did they uncover anything?
What new video?
Find who this person
Keep
is?
it cute, boo. What new video? Is there a new video that just got out? Okay, Annie, thank you so much. I appreciate that. More coming, hopefully soon. God willing.
I have to back up here.
Ooh, a cooking video? I just might. I just might. Okay, we got some breaking news. We go pause this. I'm sorry, at this point it's comical, okay? It's comical. It's comical, okay? Let me just pierogies. Oh my dear Lord. Now let me just okay. We're gonna come back to that. But TMZ just dropped another one, another piece of information. This is absolutely knuckin' futz. Okay. There has been a new note, apparently, that has dropped. Breaking news, guys. Breaking news. I don't mean no disrespect. This is a very serious, very, very serious case. But at this point, it's starting to become comical. Okay. It's starting to become comical. All right. But now, and it's frustrating, but now you got another person or another request for some money. New Bitcoin demand to ID kidnapper. This is not a joke. This is real. Let's take a look at this. So TMZ has received another email from the person who claims to know the identity of Nancy Guthrie's kidnapper. And the words are chilling. Sorry. So as we reported, TMZ received an email Wednesday asking for 1 Bitcoin in return for the name of the kidnapper. We already saw that. That happened yesterday, right? A single Bitcoin is currently worth around 65. I guess today it's 65. Yesterday it was $66,000, but $65,000. We monitored the account all day, but nothing was deposited. So just after 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, Thursday, today, TMZ received a second email from the same person who complained, "I'm not being taken seriously." He makes some ominous statements in the email. TMZ is cooperating with law enforcement, but by not disclosing specifics. One thing he makes clear, the situation has changed from Wednesday to Thursday. So he says, or as for why he wants a Bitcoin, he says he will need money to lay low after identifying the kidnapper for fear of retaliation. He also worries he might be, quote unquote, incriminated like that Carlos delivery man who is detained and released guy. He ends by saying this is his final attempt to help. As of this post, no money or Bitcoin has been deposited in his account. Dear God. I mean, are we supposed to be taking this guy seriously or no? Real talk, are we supposed to be taking this guy seriously or no? Once again, another, how many blood-sucking pieces of trash are going to try to take advantage of this situation? Is this really what we've become as humans? Is this really what we have become? I mean, let's not forget, have we really, as human beings, become this way that we would go and kidnap an 84-year-old woman? Just think about that for a second. You know, when was the last time you woke up in the morning and you went, Birds are chirping. Da, na, 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 na. You know, it's all beautiful out. And you're like, yep, I'm going to kidnap an 84-year-old woman today. Let's go. Like, when was the last time you did that? Did you ever do that? Because if you did, crazy. You need help. You need to get your head checked. Okay? Because I know for a fact, at least 99.9% of us in this chat, in this beautiful, brilliant family chat, is probably saying, hell to the no. Hell no, we've never thought about that. You might go, oh, I'm about to see my 84-year-old Gam. You see what I'm saying? Talk about the days of yore, you know, back when she was a flapper or something like that. But you ain't going to go and wake up one day, brushing your teeth, looking yourself in the mirror going, yeah, I'm about to kidnap an 84-year-old woman. You know what I'm saying? Is this how is us as humans? Is this what we've become? Scammers? And geriatric kidnappers? Come on now. This is dumb. This is what we've become as human beings. I mean, with all the mass tragedies that we've covered and all that, right? Especially what happened in Canada. My Lord. 10 people dead. Person goes out, opens fire on a bunch of people at school. Absolutely terrifying and insane, right? Is this what we have become as human beings? It's insane. So now you got this dude out here being like, hey, you're not taking me seriously. I know exactly where this person is. Give me this 1 Bitcoin. If you really know the person, or you really know where this person has maybe Nancy or whatever, why you got to send it out to TMZ? This is somebody who has serious mental health issues or is just dumb. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's it. The level of stupidity is appalling. Let's take a look at this though. Let's go here. I want to check this out too. Hold on.
You know where mom's gone?
There's an interview here.
Here's what should have happened, and where should I be looking?
Hold on.
Yeah, I'll talk for a minute.
Okay. All right. So I'm here with
John DePietro. Yep.
From New England.
Yes.
Out here. You've been out here for days
Yes.
covering. What's your take on the whole situation by your coverage and what your perspective is and what's going on?
In covering different scenes, what we're seeing right now, and I know there's always like second guessing, and there's no perfect investigation, but what you're seeing and people are seeing right now is, to me, this shows the FBI has really come in. Here's what should have happened. And where should I be looking? Just straight ahead?
Yeah, you can just look straight ahead.
Here's what should have happened. This entire house should have had yellow tape around it. Annie's house should have had yellow tape around it the entire time. The front entrance all should have been a 10-up blocked off. I covered a missing persons case. They took over. This woman was last seen going into this house, and they got a proper search warrant. They found her blood in the house for a month. They had police in the driveway 24/7, and the entire property was a crime scene. So when the sheriffs say, oh, you know, we took everything we needed to, and then they allowed people to go in, and then the media was up there and seeing the blood, like immediately, I was like, you don't do that. So, but let's look at the FBI clearly has come in. Yesterday when we saw, you know, how they were, and you and I were both here, they're canvassing right here.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going through a checklist, and then they're saying, who went through the grounds? Like, all this stuff should have been done. And from you've probably heard the same thing, JLR. There was some resistance with the FBI coming in, and the sheriff didn't play ball. People need to
Come on.
It's very territorial.
Oh, I got to pause this for a second. You guys, thank you so much for the update and giving me this update, guys. Brian Enton just dropped some serious information that just shows us, Chihuahua. I worry for ourselves. I worry for this case. Here it is. Take a look at this. Brian Enton just posted this 6 minutes ago. I'm told many of the investigators working the case don't even know who is in charge and whether it's the FBI or the Pima County Sheriff. I'm done. Everybody, I'm done. Yeah. Yeah. Though it should be surprising because they should have their ish together. But they don't even know who begins and who ends. They don't even know which end is up. Yeah, this is real talk, guys. Let me repeat that again. Brian Enton, okay? Great journalist, says, I'm told many of the investigators working the case don't even know who's in charge and whether it's the FBI or the Pima County Sheriff. That's where we're at now, guys. That is where we're at.
One of the problems, not to go on a tangent here, but one of the problems with ICE is a lot of the police, it doesn't matter whether it's Minneapolis, but they consider that's their city. And in many ways, the way they can operate is they give people the impression we run this town. If that's upset, then they feel there's a problem. But just staying with this.
So you think that might have an element to the situation with as far as the Pima County Sheriff saying, well, I don't want the feds coming in because of
national,
they weren't cooperative. Like, hey,
they were in, but they weren't cooperative. That's what I've been told. And so, if you remember one of the first press briefings, he said, I'm still waiting for these web companies or someone to get me back the information. Now, I can tell you that set off alarm bells. Feds that I knew were like, what? I covered the Brown shooting. I mean, when the FBI comes in, they have a lot of tools the local law enforcement doesn't have. They have, they have satellite. They have so many different
and let them take over.
Of cell towers, of cars that are bouncing off. People don't realize that, and we learned this in the Karen Reed case, but your car is actually a computer. So when you're riding along, it's setting off all kinds of signals. Those things can be traced. So the hesitancy, they've never handled a case like this. I don't think he knew exactly what he was dealing with, but they were not exactly, you saw it the other day when the sheriff was in front and they had the pizza delivery up there. Now, that guy never should have been got up on the property. And after that happened, I know they put something out. We shouldn't have to tell people not to deliver pizza, but I said to him, are you sure that's a pizza guy? Because the Daily Mail, I mean, they tap phones over in the UK, right? They break in.
Did we ever find out who actually sent who the pizza was for? Did we ever find out who actually ordered that pizza and who that pizza was for? Because that's just ridiculous. I've been curious about that. Yeah, I was gonna say he looks familiar, and I think he goes on the Court TV. Yeah, I think he goes on the Court TV for sure. That's what's up. He's there covering the situation, I guess, because I don't think he lives here, right?
People's voicemails. So the idea that could have been some YouTuber saying, yeah, I'm a Domino's guy, and go right up to the house and film it all like that. But just getting back to where we are today, what they need to, this tells me they're starting once again at ground zero. This is, let's go back.
Oh, it was for JLR? Oh, that's hilarious. Like he didn't order it, but somebody ordered it for him, right? Oh, that sucks. He's innocent on that. That ain't on him. That ain't on him. But if that is the case, then appreciate the viewers' energy. But they may have kind of made that a bad situation for him at that moment. That kind of sucks.
And you're seeing the grid search, and they literally are covering every piece of ground. I also want to mention about the black gloves. Now, I know that's still, we're not sure about the black gloves.
Which was found about a mile that way.
Yes. But what people should understand, and I don't hear people saying this, but I'm in other parts of Tucson where you see homeless and you see some trash. Most people, different parts of your neighborhood, you may see some rubbish and trash. This place is pristine. This place is immaculate. If you notice the Catalina foothills, where they found that, because I was over there, you don't see any homeless. I don't see any rubbish. We see all these people walking around. It's a very healthy, active community. You don't see people throwing stuff. This is, this area is a little earthy, crunchy, but they're very conscious of the environment. That's why they don't have the street lights. So my point is, in other cities and towns where maybe someone says they find a hat or a shirt or gloves or sneakers, you would say, well, it could be a homeless person or somebody just threw something out the window. I don't find that around here. I don't even see I don't find any litter. So that's where the gloves to me really stands out, because it's not as if, there's some sections when you go downtown Tucson, like where the convention center is, you'll see a homeless encampment. You'll see other parts. I was in Vail the other night chasing down that to Rio Rico. It's a little more off the beaten path to see that. You don't see that around here.
But let me just touch on the gloves. And I was sharing the gloves found on the road.
Yes.
Prestige area. Yeah.
This area
happened a day after the guy's image got revealed.
True.
Right.
True. It could have been someone planted it. It could have been.
My take is, why wasn't these gloves noticed a week prior? Because you think about a crime.
They go
but at the same time, people,
it could have been somebody could have just gone and thrown it up there, and it's a prank, and we're going to see a video later about that.
But they're definitely going to analyze these things because they took it 100% seriously, and they should.
Nancy Grace said, I could.
I think that the gloves were staged. I truly think that. I really don't think that that they suddenly just out of nowhere, boom, there it is. Like they, suddenly out of nowhere, now we have gloves. You know what I mean? Like I think that they were planted. I think that there are people out here that are just a-holes, just trying to be like, I don't understand what's wrong with people. I really don't understand what's wrong with people. Like I don't understand why can't people just let a case do what they need to do, let the investigation do what they need to do. Why does everybody have to be involved in, not everybody, but why do certain people have to feel like they have to have some moment in that time? You know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, like what, just to have your own moment that you can snicker to yourself, like, haha, that was me that did that, but no one will ever know. But I'll always remember that moment for myself with this case. It's just dumb. You know what I mean? Why would anyone do that? Who would do that? Like, it just, I don't know. I don't know. People are just evil, some people, not everybody, but some people are just straight up evil. Let's take a look at News Nation.
It's day 12. Nothing indicating at this point whether Nancy Guthrie is alive. We've also seen, Marnie, several residents walking their dogs by here. We've said, we're sorry, we've kind of taken over your neighborhood. And they said, we just want her found. We're also concerned. They've also put up I don't even want to say memorial, but several flowers. People are delivering flowers with a big note that says, we're thinking of you, Guthrie family. But that latest video that Savannah just posted on her social media channels, Marnie, is just heartbreaking. You just feel for this family.
Right. Well, I mean, Savannah has been, as part of why, Jessica, this case has gotten so much more attention. It's the relationship that Savannah has with her mom and how much she cares for her. How many times Nancy Guthrie has shown up on the Today Show, the trip that Savannah took back to Tucson to talk about her mom's hometown. I mean, it has been in the public eye, and to have her taken in the middle of the night, it's just something that no one can wrap their mind around, that who would do this and why. Did you hit on the detainment of the man who was then released? Anything more on that? Is that leading to anything?
Let's talk about him for a minute, because as we know, he was detained and then he was released. The only connection was that he is a delivery driver. He was out delivering DoorDash. Whether he was in this area or what the connection was to this disappearance of Nancy Guthrie is still unclear. But something clearly led the FBI and sheriff's deputies to that location. They were able to get a warrant. They went inside of the home. They busted down the door of the home. They placed the man in handcuffs. So He has since been released, but it is not entirely off the table that they could go back to him again. Something going on. Again, residents are just trying to get through here. That's what we believe that is. Okay, the tent is now coming down, Marnie. I'm going to move here so that our photojournalist Nick Emmons can push in. All right, what they were getting, we know that they walked in with some kind of camera equipment. We see them now leaving. They're taking that tent down. Again, this scene has been very active this morning. Right around 2:30 in the morning, we did see people out here, and then now this. What's also interesting is you and I were talking about this gravel driveway, right? What if there was blood? If they took her out of that front door, what if there was blood on the driveway? Also, the garage is on the other side, which also kind of feeds into this horseshoe driveway. If they were looking for more evidence, we now have citizen journalists, we have a pizza delivery guy, we have people delivering flowers to the area as well. And that could compromise an investigation. We now have other footprints. We have tire tracks. Again, we're watching as they take this tent down. They're loading everything in a vehicle and then taking off. What they pulled or where they went or what they were shooting at the front of the house is still unclear. You know,
I wonder what it was for. I keep thinking that maybe they were dusting for prints or dusting for DNA or trying to scan the entryway or the doorway, the doorwell or the doorway, I'm sorry, or the door itself for any signs of DNA. That's what I think it is. But like I said, what really blows my mind is that it was about 2-3 days from the moment that she went missing to the moment that the police released the property, the crime scene, back to the family. 2-3 days, guys. She went missing, and then 2-3 days later, they released that crime scene, basically the home, back to the family. 2-3 days. That's how quickly they went through all that stuff. They said, yeah, we're going to shut it down now. It ain't a crime scene anymore. We're good. You can bring it. The family can go back to the home when they need to. Give people ample time, media and all that, ample time to go run through the house. Contaminate that crime scene. Real talk. Like I said, this is just, it's absolutely insane to me that it was done so shortly. And I know that there's a lot of speculation. People are thinking like, oh, maybe the I just saw a tweet and there's theories that I'm just like, nah. There are theories out here that are pretty getting pretty intense. But I don't know. The theories are running amok for sure. And everyone's looking at everyone. And now people are even looking at the department. Now people are even looking at the sheriff's department. Like I said, it's getting messy. It's getting messy. A press conference would do the public. One press conference would definitely do the public some good, right? But let's go.
TMZ has obtained a second email from the man who claims to know the identity of Nancy Guthrie's kidnapper. We told you yesterday that this man sent us an email saying that he will reveal the name if he gets 1 Bitcoin. We checked the account all day. He did not receive anything. The account is bare. So this morning, just after 8 a.m. Pacific time, he sent us this other email complaining that he is not being taken seriously. He says that he wants the Bitcoin, which is worth around $67,000, for several reasons. Number one, he says by coming forward, he will become as he puts it, a national rat. He also says, and this is a quote, he doesn't want to be, quote, incriminated like that guy Carlos. Remember, Carlos is the delivery man who was taken into custody a couple of days ago. Briefly, he was detained and then released. He says that he fears retaliation if he comes forward, and that he needs the Bitcoin because he's going to have to lay low after coming forward. And then he talks about a difference between yesterday and today. And we are not going to get specific about what he's talking about. It is chilling what he is insinuating here. But we have told to lay low after coming forward. And then he talks about a difference between yesterday and today. And we are not going to get specific about what he's talking about. It is chilling what he is insinuating here. But we have told law enforcement we're not going to get specific about that. But he makes it very clear here that this will be his second and last attempt. We have checked the Bitcoin address that he sent us. By the way, the one from yesterday and today, they are the same. And we checked the Bitcoin address just before I'm shooting this and talking to you. And again, there is nothing in that Bitcoin account, at least right now.
Okay. So interesting. The guy is basically saying, give me the money. I need to lay low, blah, blah, blah. Right. And then he's like, well, I need to lay low because this is a high profile situation. I don't want to be known as a snitch, blah, blah, blah. Then he says, basically that there's a huge difference from yesterday to today, basically trying to add some sort of urgency to basically say like, oh, she's even worse than she was yesterday. She's even in more trouble right now. If you don't get her now, if you don't send me that Bitcoin, you may lose your mom. Maybe that's what he's trying to say, to add some urgency, But the other problem is, though, is he's sending it to TMZ. And I haven't heard anything being said about an email or a note being sent to other local news outlets either. This is only coming to TMZ. So this could just be an idiot, just trying to see if he can get lucky and make some money. You see what I'm saying? Now, I know some people will look and go, ooh, maybe TMZ's making this up. I don't think that they would do something like that. I really don't. They got better things to do, okay, than to make some stuff up like this, okay? But still, it is crazy that we have that going on. The same person's like, here's a follow-up email. Didn't see any money, so come on, give me the money. Gimme. I don't think that they're going to get that money, okay? They're lying. That's what I truly think. They are lying. One second. Huh. Interesting. Hold on. There's another video. This is interesting too. This is coming out. People are, I don't know how, again, I don't know who this is. Okay. I don't know who this is. But no, I think it's a false alarm. Never mind. I'm not showing that. Hold on. Let me, there was something else I was going to show you that I didn't get a chance to show you guys yesterday. So I'm going to share and show it to you guys now. And it is interesting because there is footage. They show footage of this guy, okay, as he's walking up, first and foremost. The video that we've seen of him walking up, right? He's walking up like this. He's got the backpack on him and all that, right? The backpack is on him and everything. I don't think that I'm about to say something that might sound a little unhinged. So just ride with me, okay? But I don't think law enforcement has told us the full truth on this timeline. Sorry. Hear me out. So you got one video. It looks like there's a light that's on outside. If you see the shadow, somebody pointed this out online too, which it's very observant. So you got the shadow right here, right? You got a shadow right here. You got and I'll blow this up a little bit more so you guys can see this, okay? So there's a light. So maybe there was a light on, like a floodlight that was outside pointed in that direction. maybe, or it could, excuse me, it could have been the car that he was driving, because he clearly was driving a car, all right, that may have been pointed in that direction or something. But anyway, he's got, as you see the reflectors on his shoulders, it's because he's wearing the backpack, right? And obviously he has the pistol laying on top of his pistol. Remember that whole image? Okay. Now look at this photo. Pitch black in the background. He does not have his book bag on. What's up with that? Now, two things could happen. Two separate things could be happening, right? Either he walked up and saw the place. Maybe he had his book bag somewhere in the car. So he went to the car to get his book bag, slung it on, right? And then, yeah, maybe it was a sensor light that, you know, as he was walking back, the sensor light went off. Or this could be a completely different dude, but wearing the same outfit. That's the thing I'm questioning. Wearing the same outfit, though? I mean, that's possible. Maybe they just didn't want to seem, maybe they wanted to, whoever, to throw law enforcement off. Could there be two men? Could there be only one person? What? They're wearing the same clothes. This is weird. But nonetheless, you got a guy right here without backpack. You got another guy. Well, that's not it. Then you got another guy, maybe with the backpack and the gun. Look at the pistol on his pistol, right? It's right there. Okay. Sitting right on top of his Michael Jackson. Okay. So again, what's going on? Right? Could it be two completely different people? But here's the thing though. Remember the video that we've all seen. We all know. Okay. And we've all seen it nauseum. But still, no matter what, this happened at some point. Take a look-see, Lou. Somebody walked up and grabbed the security camera. So the question is this. Did this photo here happen before or after they were supposedly supposed to be taking down the camera at this time? Think about it for a second. Did they walk up and really take off the camera? Maybe he walked over, saw that, I don't know, saw that the camera was there, went back to get a book bag, went over there, and then took the camera off? Or is this after the fact? Is this after she was already taken, and then he walked back up there to grab the Ring camera? Same outfit. Remember, same mother-loving outfit. Same outfit. You see the black stripe. It's faint, but it's right there. Right across his chest. Same ski mask, same shoes, same pants, same gloves. Nothing's changed. It could be two different people wearing the same outfit. That could be possible to throw people off. Or what we're seeing here is him on his way to take the camera down after he got her in the car. Or this is right before he went up with the backpack and took the camera off, before he actually took Nancy. You see what I'm saying? This footage that we're seeing right here could have happened right before or right after. You see what I'm saying? So I'm curious about what's going on here. What is going on here? What's going on here, right? But I just think that's interesting. I do think that's interesting. Here's something else I wanted to share with you guys yesterday. I didn't get a chance to. I was too tired, man. I was too beat. But here's another one. Let's take a look at this.
So I'm here with Paul Morrow and Josh Ritter, and we are going to ask some questions from our Fox News readers, and hopefully these guys could answer them about the Nancy Guthrie case. So Guys, the first question is from Jennifer on Twitter. You know, she saw the video last night and she's curious, does this guy look like a pro? For example, no logos on his clothing, on the backpack, on the gloves. He had a full backpack with items you might need. What do you make of that?
Well, I'd have to think that if somebody really was a pro, they would at the least have some available duct tape to put over that camera. He doesn't even seem to understand that somehow or other putting a little bit of a bush in front of the camera is in any way going to block it. I don't really know what he was trying to do there. It's not going to sort of stay there in front of the camera. So there's something very simplistic about the way he does that and even the way he moves. So no, I would argue not a pro. I would say somebody who is maybe not that high functioning, but is maybe with this one sort of punching above his weight. You know, he did some planning, has this backpack. It's true, no logos and all of that, but managed to get himself caught on a Ring camera, which argues that not a whole lot of thought really going into it, not a whole lot of recon.
Yeah, I agree with Paul. I don't think a pro, but I think a person who's done this before, because he's prepared. He made that error with that moment of impulsive kind of absurdity when he's grabbing the plant and trying to hide himself with the flowers, which does throw you off. But other than that, he's coming with gloves. He's got a mask. He does figure out how to dismantle that camera. The other thing I think that I don't hear a lot of people talking about is he doesn't seem all that concerned with the dog being on site. He doesn't be all concerned with other people being in the house, with how he's going to.
I thought the dog died. Huh? Oh, well, I guess he's saying like just in general, like he's not concerned about like an animal, you know, like a dog being there, that kind of thing. Maybe that's what he meant.
The flowers, which does throw you off. But other than that, he's coming with gloves. He's got a mask. He does figure out how to dismantle that camera. The other thing I think that I don't hear a lot of people talking about is he doesn't seem all that concerned with the dog being on site. He doesn't be all concerned with other people being in the house, with how he's going to gain entry. I don't see a crowbar in his hands. He doesn't seem concerned about an alarm system. It's like he's done this before and maybe even been out to that house. But yeah, I don't think he's a pro in the sense that he's very accomplished at this kind of a crime.
No, I'd agree. And, you know, there's another thing, you know, and Josh speaking now brings it to my mind, which is that he goes to the front door. You know, it's in the middle of the night and he's going to try to break into this house. And that matters because the front doors here are like Fort Knox. There are all these one-story buildings with these very heavy oak doors. It's like this adobe style down here. So I don't know what he was hoping to do at the front door, but I never saw a burglar go to the front door or a perp of any sort and just try to gain entry through the front door. It's a strange move.
Yeah. I mean, obviously the guy's not a pro. Obviously the guy's an idiot. But he's very lucky. And I think it's just outside situations that are helping him, right? That's what I think. I think that he's very lucky that he had things working in his favor with this situation. The fact that there aren't cameras filming moving vehicles at these intersections in Tucson is wild to me, but that works in his favor, right? The fact that he was in a neighborhood that is pitch black, that anyone could do any bad crime in this pitch black area, right? You won't be able to see anything. He's very lucky to have that kind of thing work in his favor. It's jacked up, but true. All of these things working in his favor. It's just asinine, guys. I don't know. This is just insane to me. Let's see what else is going on here real quick. So new note from the person saying, hey, I'll rat this guy out. Just give me 1 Bitcoin. It's the wildest thing I've seen in a while. All right. Wildest thing I've seen in a while. But let's continue on. I'm just seeing if there's anything else. Hold on. It's just dumb. It's a level of dumb. Welcome to our world. Let's take a look at this. Hold on.
I see a lot of people piling back in.
Yeah, they're just. I was checking the. Nope. Sorry, guys. Hold on. Let's take a look at this.
Those of you who lived in the Valley a long time will certainly remember this name. It's Jeff Halstead, a retired Fort Worth police chief, but you remember him, no doubt, during his many years with the Phoenix Police Department as a lieutenant. And so I don't know whether to call you chief or lieutenant, but Jeff, thank you for joining us today.
Good morning.
Good morning, Celeste and Ron. And Ron, let's just keep it Jeff. I'll keep my blood pressure really, really low.
You got a deal for sure. There have been so many headlines coming in this morning. They're focused on something that may have happened in that neighborhood 3 weeks ago, almost to the hour when the time that Nancy went missing. We've got Savannah releasing new video. Of course, there's all the talk now about gloves being found. Where do you want to start?
All right, let's start with the investigative process. So there's been a lot of questions about the delay in the video getting released. This is not an intentional delay by any means. Law enforcement is sometimes restricted from getting quality data from these older pieces of technologies or working with our tech partners in order for us to get it. Now, remember, it has to go through a specific systematic screening for relevancy and for inclusion as evidentiary in nature. So that takes time. As soon as they got it, they released it, with the strategic mission of generating more public leads. Because Ron and Celeste, as you all know, in the Valley, our most high-profile crimes were solved from public tips. And it's absolutely imperative that our media partners are working directly side by side, and you are, but now there are going to be systematic and strategic releases of more information as they start honing in to the time, possibly a vehicle, and possibly an area, and they're going to generate some great tips from that.
You know, Jeff, there is, they put the tent up near the front door this morning, and some unmarked vehicles drove up, set up the tents. You can't see that front patio area anymore. Can you give us any idea of what they're looking for, or what they could be looking for in this type of a case?
Well, the majority of times when the media or the public sees that type of a tent, it's to cover a disturbing area of a crime scene. That's not the case here. However, they want privacy for items and probably investigative tools they're going to be using, not just at the entry stoop and the tiles, but also the door, the frame, and beyond. Because you got to remember that little area right there of their entry, you can see, even though they have that security screen door, you can still see some movement. They want to protect that, secure it, so it's not released as to what they're doing, how they're doing it, and then it will come out later why they did it.
Now, maybe you could lift the curtain for us just a little bit in terms of how, when you have a case that is this high profile, and you're right, boy, we had some here around the kind of the turn of the century back here in the Valley, many of them. But when you have literally thousands of leads to try to get through, how do you set that process up? And where do you suppose they are right now with 18,000 tips coming in? Do you think they're in the first inning, the third inning, or where do you suppose?
Well, so they literally have an entire task force that is doing nothing but getting this information, the tips, the data, and the qualitative information that are in these tips, and then they will categorize them. They might have a stream of tips on vehicle, a stream of tips on possible persons, leads, or suspicious things they saw 3 to 4 weeks ago. So then they start categorizing, and then based upon the progress of the investigation, the most applicable realm of these types of tips will then get a deeper dive. But all of the crime analysts, the call takers, and these investigators that are screening the tips are placing them in a priority status based upon some of those measurable areas that would be of concern moving the investigation forward. But I can say, both from experience and from what I've seen in the news and the updates, the FBI is doing a fantastic job, and they are really getting concentric as to what they need now.
Okay, we're up against a break. We want to get your take on the video, the doorbell video, but can you hang with us through the break?
Yeah. This is, somebody said in the chat, and I agree, they really need to pick up the pace in trying to figure this whole thing out and trying to find her, because it is very strange that it's been this long and we don't know anything at all. I think it's very, very strange. But let's get some of these super chats here really quick. So Blastgate, thank you so much for the love. Between this, the El Paso airport, and all the other madness, somebody bring back the DEIs. I'm done. Happy Days, you did a couple of them, so we're just gonna blaze right through them. I feel like now that private investigators are there, that the case is in good hands now. Well, I don't know about all that. I don't know about all that. But okay, hold on, Happy Days. Well, I'll explain here in a second. I just wish they were there earlier. I don't know about all that. I think that there's some private investigators that get involved in cases just for clout, just to get their name out there. And sometimes they stir the pot even worse and make it even worse than actually like doing the damn job. Now, I don't know about the ones that are actually hired, but I do know that, especially when it becomes a big case like this, others will be like, I'm on my way, I'm on my way to Arizona and I'm going to crack the case. And then they go out there and they do their, they throw in their 2 cents. And, like I said, sometimes they're in there for the good. Sometimes they're not in there for the good. You see what I'm saying? So I just saying that out loud. Let's go into the next one. Mr. Magoo. Yeah. AKA Pima County Sheriff. Yes. Yeah, pretty much. He'll be lucky if they don't lasso him up and haul him out of town after this. Good God. Yep. It's bad. It's really bad. He is too much in his fees. He's too emotional. Okay. What if a kid went missing? How would they have treated that? Does that ever happen in Tucson? Yeah. I mean, that's a damn good question. I feel like I would hope they would treat it a little bit better than this. I would hope, especially after what happened with this one. I don't know if this guy's going to have his job anymore after this case. People aren't going to forget this. How he's treating this whole situation is a massive mess. Annie Jean, thank you so much for becoming a member. Welcome to the family. Thank you so much. Copper Mountain, thank you. Looks like the perp is wearing his getaway outfit under his jacket / pants. The way he walks and bends to get the shrubbery is off. Or the shrubs, I'm sorry, is off, which makes him skinny. Interesting. So then maybe it is the guy that we saw in the other video earlier. Maybe it is. But then again, maybe it's not. The Barbie mommy, thank you so much. Criminal knew everything. I think he knew enough. I don't think he walked up and was like, oh, there's a ring camera there. I think he knew that there was a ring camera there, but I also think he wasn't thinking. I feel like he's cased the joint before. I truly think that he's cased the joint before. Okay. Just saying, just saying that out loud. But he's a dumb criminal still. That's for sure. Parky Posey, thank you so much for the love. LOL. Why do I feel this Bitcoin person is legit? Now, if the person is legit, why would you send that note to TMZ? Of all places, I just think the person's unhinged, Parky, but you could be right. Again, Parky, Jesus take the wheel. Indeed. Okay. Rachel G, thank you so much for the love. I have no words. I have no words either. I mean, I've been talking for 2 hours straight, but you know what I mean. Okay. This is all nuck and futz. Mimi, thank you so much for all the super stickers and also gifting one membership. Welcome to the family, you new member. Do me a favor. Mimi just gave you some love. All I'm asking for you to do is to pay it forward. It's a simple ask. Pay it forward. You know, do something nice for somebody, open the door for somebody, compliment somebody, you know, call your mama, call your dad, you know, call your parents if they're still together, you know, and if they're still on this side of this soil, give them a call. They'll appreciate it. Monica, thank you so much for the love and for the sticker, super sticker. Thank you. Parky, thank you so much again. 2 different days. Yeah. So when it comes to that, those 2 different video or 2 different shots of the guy with the book bag and one without the book bag, it could be earlier that night as well. Maybe he went over there and he's like, oh, damn. Ain't nobody here. Let's do a little B&E. Maybe that's what he was doing. And he's like, let me go get my stuff. And then he went and got his stuff. Or it could have been a few days before. Checked the place out. Whoa. Nice spot. And then went a few days later, and did what he did. So that's possible too, right? But the fact that they don't have the timeline correct, possibly that they don't have the timeline correct, that's not good. Long story short, that's not good, right? That is very much not good. So, AJ, thank you so much. Oh, well, I'm not doing that, but anybody else, well, you know, I'm not doing that. But anyway, moving on. Nicole, thank you so much for love. Nest cameras pick up ambient sounds for recording. Two-way audio comm. Interesting. Battery-powered Nest cameras can still work after being taken off the wall. That's also very interesting. And that's true. So it does make you wonder, you know, do we see it being thrown in the car? Do we see it getting the moment, seconds, you know, milliseconds down to the moment where it gets smashed? If it was smashed, right? So that's information that I'd like to have answered too. MGL, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Is this tied to Scottsdale crypto invasion case? That's one thing I know about. That's one thing that we're all trying to find out, if there is a connection. But they haven't. Shoot, we need to find her first, you know. And I think by finding her, then they could do the reverse math and get whoever they need to get, right? Crime. Thank you so much. I think it's because someone higher up is protecting them. Who could that be when you say higher up? You know what I mean? That's something I'd like to know too. Michael, thank you so much for becoming a member. Isn't that a movie, Michael Clayton? Isn't that a George? What's his name? George. What's his name? Ocean's 11 guy. Why am I forgetting his name? Isn't that a movie with him in it? Michael Clayton? Yeah, Batman's. He was Batman's one time. George Clooney, thank you. Isn't that a movie with George Clooney in it? Michael Clayton? Okay, useless knowledge. Moving on. Lisa Jane, thank you so much for the love. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thanks for the hard work, P. Thank you. I appreciate it. Burglary gone wrong, in my opinion. I think that might be the situation, but I don't know. It's just so crazy that her house of all houses, you know what I mean? Beautiful disaster. Thank you so much. It's sad that armchair detectives find more info. Don't you think it's interesting? Ain't that interesting? And then yet they give the armchair detectives crap. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's at this point, I'm side-eyeing the sheriff. I think everyone's starting to side-eye the sheriff. Because it's like, why is he acting this way? Why is he doing what he's doing? Why is he backtracking? Why is he gaslighting? Why is he saying one thing and then changing the story? It's all weird. And I'm not sitting here saying that he's a part of it. It just seems so strange that he would act this way. It's sloppy work. Like I said, I don't think he'll be sheriff very long. Alyssa, thank you so much for becoming a member. Welcome to the family. Andrew, thank you so much for the love. I think he was blocking a car or something. Maybe he was blocking a car? Maybe. I don't know. Too many questions, guys. Too many questions about like why it's being done that way, right? Like the whole timeline's weird, etc. It's weird. Keep it cute, boo. Thank you so much. What about cell phone pings from the closest tower? Yeah, we haven't really heard anything from law enforcement at all. And I think we would know more if law enforcement would actually open their gob and start telling us more information, right? Wouldn't that be an interesting thing to see? If they were actually opening their mouths and telling us more information that we actually need to know? That'd be great. But they haven't said a damn thing. At some point, they're going to do some sort of press conference. At some point. Hopefully it happens a lot sooner than later, because this is getting dumb. This is really getting dumb. Okay? But guys, unfortunately, that is the show for now. I'll be back on a little bit later on this evening for sure. Okay? There's a lot to cover. Hopefully, we get more information. More revelations. Maybe someone gets found. I don't know. Let's find her as soon as possible, because this is insane. And also, very important as well, we get the bad guys as soon as possible. So, again, please do me a favor before you head out. Hit that like button down below. Crush it, do it, do. I'll be back on in a few hours, I promise, okay? I got some things I got to do. You know what I mean? I gotta bust a move, but I'll be back. So make sure you hit that like button down below. Crush it, do it, do. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on these other platforms. If you are watching on these other platforms, make sure you hit that follow button, okay? Facebook is blooming, okay? And YouTube is blooming. Wow, we almost at like 195, I think. 195K, it's insane. We are almost there. Hamburger. It's amazing. We're almost a little over 5,000 subscribers away from my goal of 200,000 subscribers, which is insane, okay? So make sure you're subscribed. Subscribe right now. Go over there. Subscribe, okay? And then go do your thing. Hit that notification bell, though. Sorry, before you go and do your thing, hit that notification bell. Set it to all so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload, because it is random. Okay, hit that join button down below. Become a member if you want to support the music endeavor, the music segment of the show that's coming. Hopefully as soon as next week. Go hit that Patreon. Go check out Pascal Musical Fam and become a member. Support over there on Patreon. That'd be amazing. Okay, hold on real quick. KJ said so. Thank you so much. East Coast has package delivery from... I'm side-eyeing the subject. Sorry. I'm still side-eyeing the subject. We'll see what that's all about. But thank you for the super chat. Anyway, hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that notification bell, hit that join button down below. Become a member. Check out my Patreon. Become a patron. Okay? And check out PascalMerch.com. All right? PascalMerch.com. We got some really great stuff. Go check it out. PascalMerch.com. Anyway, it's time to get going. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. This is The Pascal Show. Bye.